Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our live this evening. And today we're going to carry on with our 30-day 30 Microsoft 365 tips. We're going to go slightly outside of Microsoft 365 for a couple of our most favorite apps within the Microsoft Teams App Store, actually. But keep with us and we'll show you today in our session the newly redesigned Microsoft Teams App Store. And then we'll give you a view of two of our favorite apps within that App Store. Okay, so welcome to everyone, and welcome to everyone joining us on the recording also. You know the drill by now. So on these sessions, I am going to share my screen and I'm going to run through a couple of things with you so we can have a look at the new App Store within Teams. Okay, share my screen. There we go. And this is very recent. So, oh, just bear with me there. I think something a bit strange is going on. So, okay. I'm just going to. Here we go. I think. Yep, there we go. That's a bit better. So apologies about that. Not sure what was going on with all of that flickering on my screen there. So here we are in Microsoft Teams. We're currently in the chat area, and you'll notice down here on the left-hand side, and you've probably seen this already, is the App Store. So here we have the App Store down here, right at the bottom of Microsoft Teams. As if Teams wasn't fully featured enough and we can't do enough with Teams as it is, we could also add a myriad of applications into Teams and bring our day-to-day workflow totally into Teams and run it from there. So I'm going to go into the App Store and you'll see that this has been totally redesigned to try and make it easier to find some of those apps that you're most interested in. So we click on the apps down there in the bottom left. And as you can see, the App Store has been redesigned. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot more, let's say, square. So it's set out in a more kind of tabular fashion and a more kind of, there are more sections in here than there used to be before. So it does become a bit easier to kind of see within those sections what you're looking for. We've also got a moving banner here up at the top that tries to give you suggestions based on some of the stuff that you've been working on before. And this gives you suggestions based on Microsoft's kind of AI in terms of the apps that you might want to work with. So here's the banner up at the top. There's a few apps kind of just going past there. So we can have a look here first on the left-hand side. So first thing you see is a search bar. So if you know exactly what you're looking for, then this is the place to start. So if we know that we're looking for Microsoft Forms, maybe, we can do a quick search and that will bring Forms back at the top there for us. And this view actually resembles a bit more the old App Store, kind of looking at this. So very interesting there. So let's close that search and let's go back to the main page of the App Store. Now, I'm hoping that some of you might be seeing this and thinking, wow, I never knew that there were so many apps that we could integrate into Teams. Well, all of these are here. You can potentially integrate with them. Some of them are completely free. Others you need to then sign in and you need to have a subscription, for example, for that other product. And some of these also, if they integrate with Microsoft 365 data and they need access to certain aspects of Microsoft 365, they may well ask you for administrative privileges or for someone administrative within your organization to approve that application for use. You may also be in a organization where Teams apps are very carefully monitored and very carefully curated in terms of the apps that you're given and the apps that you can use. But you can see here that there is really a huge number of these apps available. Okay, so we have had a look at the search bar there. Next thing we can see here is we have a built by your colleagues tab. So we can click on built by your colleagues. And here we can see immediately there are a couple of apps that we've built within Power Apps. So here's a Power App for our asset register, and here's another asset register that's also built by Power Apps. So you can see very quickly which apps have been built by colleagues and are available for you to gain access to and to use. Okay, so moving on down the list. So we have a featured. So we've got, for example, popular across teams. So sometimes you might be looking for inspiration. You might be looking for things that other people are using because obviously they found them particularly useful. So you might also find them very useful. And within here, you'll see quite a few kind of very useful kind of applications. So Power BI, in order to analyze the data that's kind of being created, generated within your organization. Really good tool, especially kind of links in well with other Microsoft products, but also can bring in data from pretty much any data source, really. Task by Planner and To Do, we've seen that, and we saw Planner, in fact, yesterday, so we can bring in tasks and Planner To Do into Teams. We can start setting up Power Automate, which is another thing that we've been through in another one of our sessions. We can set those up within Teams and work within Teams. The whole idea of this is that Teams really becomes your place to work. So you're working in Teams, but you have access to these other applications that, you know, make it easier for you to do your job. And they may be applications that are mandated by your organization, but it means that you don't have to worry about where they are kind of getting to those applications. You can quickly and easily connect to them within Microsoft Teams. Okay, and then moving further down, we then have some categories so that you can get to where you want to be fairly quickly, the types of utilities that you're looking for. And if I click on See More, you'll just see the breadth of the applications that have now been created. So this really is a huge ecosystem of applications. So we have categories there, and, you know, kind of all the way down, there's a huge number of different categories of apps that we can download into Teams. And also, if you're interested in finding things by your industry, for example, that category is also on there. Okay, there's an additional filter here, so we can, so up here on the right-hand side, you can see that we can also filter. We can say, right, do we want something that's a connector, or do we want something that's regarding messaging? Do we want maybe apps that are a bit more personal, potentially? So if we try one of these filters, let's see what we get. So these are apps that can be logged into personally, and apps that you can kind of work in kind of on a personal basis, but a lot of these are also team apps at the same time. So you might be working personally on it within the app, but it's probably likely that you will share that work with others afterwards. So for example, a Power App or a Power BI report, you know, unless you're the only one who needs access to a Power BI report, it's likely that you would share that maybe within your team, for example. Okay, so let's clear those filters. And now we're back to across Teams. Okay, so two of our favorites here are, so I'm just going to put these into the search bar there. And because we're logged in as our test user, I'm not going to show you this within Teams as such, but I'm just going to show you that it's there and you can manage this from Teams. But our first choice is Zapier or Zapier. Not 100% sure how to pronounce that. Depends where you are potentially. So Zapier allows you to pretty much connect any app with any app. And I'd like to just draw your attention to the Zapier website. So the idea is that you've got two distinct apps and you want to connect those two distinct apps, but you're not a programming whiz. You know, you don't want to spend your whole time trying to work out which code you need to take data from one place to the other. Well, Zapier, as long as it has an integration kind of predefined, you can use Zapier to move data from one place to the other. You can create your workflows. So it might be moving data from one app to another to then another. So, you know, it makes your life easier. And especially if you're running a small business, and you need to connect various bits up. So you might have your customer relationship management system linked to your emailing system, linked to your invoicing system, linked to your courses system. Those kinds of things, those are the types of things that Zapier helps you with, and allows you to be able to connect those apps very easily. And just as a final thing about Zapier, here are some recommended workflows to get an idea of the types of things that you can do within Zapier. And these are pretty kind of straightforward ones, but save new Gmail attachments to Google Drive, create Google Calendar events from new Trello cards. So if you have a new Trello card, Trello is a project kind of board type system. So if you have a new card on Trello, then you can create a Google Calendar event. One will kick off the other action and it will create that for you. So lots of, kind of really good ideas in Zapier in terms of templates, for example, and workflows that have been predefined. So that's our first one, saves time and saves, problems with data quality as well, because all of that data is kind of flowing through those systems. Okay, and the next one is Kahoot. So Kahoot is a learning platform, and it's around kind of engagement with learning. So it allows you to be able to create quizzes. It allows you to be able to kind of get feedback, learning apps. People can then connect into those, and you can make kind of live quizzes, provide live answers. And it's all about really making your training or learning experience really engaging and being able to engage with people as you're going through that. We all know that in this time of remote meetings and remote everything, it's very easy for people to switch off when they're kind of watching a meeting, or even watching a video or whatever as the case may be. However, Kahoot really allows you to make all your training really engaging and allows you to kind of ask those questions and bring your audience into those meetings. And this blew my mind here. So if you have a look at this stat here, 97% of the Fortune 500 use Kahoot. So I'm sure you can pretty much, kind of see from that this product is really good, and it really does make those presentations a lot more engaging. So that's it for this evening. Have a nice rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's live. Okay, thank you very much. Good night.